One of the reasons that we're doing this is so that people can get a, a much more in-depth uh, experience before, if they want to come and work with us. It's nice for them to understand the cut of your jib. How do you react? How do you
Hmm.
act? How do you react? What do you say about things? And they can get a real sense of what it's like to work with you. uh, and we've already, when we first started, one of the people that we recently hired, we were, I think we had a few of these segments on uh, online in YouTube, and but we directed people to hey, if you're interested in working with us, take a look at some of the take a look at how we look at things, and if you like how we look at things, you can imagine whether you
Hmm.
that you might like working with us. And in a time like right now, and it almost seems today it doesn't matter what the, I mean, it does and it doesn't, but it doesn't matter what the employment or unemployment rates are. It's really hard to find the right people to work with you in whatever you're creating. And I think one of the reasons for that is because there's so many platforms that if you're looking for a job, you can just it seems like people are just rifling their
Hmm.
resumes out there to anything that's even remotely close. They might, in the past, where there used to be newspapers, right?
Oh yeah.
The help wanted, or you've got a headhunter or something like that. There are very few places where you're going to put your resume, or you had to mail them. You actually had to copy off your resume, put it in an envelope, pay for postage. Now it's free. They want you to post your resume because that makes them look good. Whatever the job platform is, and you can just bam, 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 as fast as you can pull the trigger, you can shoot your resume out. So then companies now, like us, First Financials, overloaded with with uh, let's say we get, I think the when we're looking for somebody most recently, we had something like in a very short period of time, 400 resumes.
Hmm.
And how on earth do you sort through 400 resumes? Because what your job description is not even close to what these people are qualified for, or what they
Hmm.
seem like they'd even be interested in or good at. Yet they sent it in, and now you have to look at it, and looking at it, takes time. And I don't know if they don't care what kind of job they get, but the people that do care really seem to appreciate understanding who we are and what it is we do and how we look at things. And somebody who joined us just the other day loved. She basically said, I have to work with these guys. I don't want to work anywhere else. And in fact, she even said at one point when she read our job description, because it doesn't look and sound like everybody else's. We write it in the words that we would use. So we write things in the way that we would choose. And she read it, and she was like, are these guys for real? And then she saw this stuff, and she goes, all right, it seems so they are.
Hmm.
So if and so uh, we attract better fitting people when we provide a deeper platform for them to see us and see what it might be like. Because a lot of companies too will. I mean, look at all their sites. They'll. It almost how they talk about themselves is kind of like how everybody else talks about themselves. And so, how do you even know, as somebody who's looking for a job, how do you know if you like them or not? Because they all sound and look alike. We're the leaders in the industry. We're all they all say it. There can only be one leader, right? But they all say they are. We're the words. And so we don't. We used to have somebody that wrote our marketing things, and she would write the same stuff, and I would say, no, we don't want to say that, because that's whether we are or not, everybody else is saying it. So how does anybody know whether it's true or not? And who's to say whether we are or aren't? But if you so it seems like this is it's a, I don't know if you call it, it's like a very transparent tool, or resource that people can use, and to see if we're right. And if we're right, you know it saves you a lot of time. I was talking to, so I'll call this a platform. I think it's important to show people what you're made of, so that they can use their time effectively and yours. And if they love what you do, you know, we all are using our time most effectively, and we're finding the right matches, and we're using our, our life in the best way. Talking to we used a couple different accountants, but the account that we've used for years and years was having a real tough time finding new accountants. They wanted to grow, and one guy retired, and so they're trying to find the right people. And I talked to him about this. I go, well, because he was lamenting. He's like, man, you just can't find,
Hmm.
very global words like, you just can't find anybody today. Kids don't want to blah 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 today. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, no, kids are human. They just don't want to work with stodgy,
Hmm.
worn out people like you. Your accounting firm looks like every other stodgy accounting firm in the country. There's nothing exciting, nothing interesting about what are you going to say to them? Why don't you put, what if you did something like what we're doing here? Like, well, why don't you tell some stories about some deals that you're doing?
Right.
Like, oh man, here's the kind of things you run into. Here's this company that, the trucking company that blah 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 blah, or the somebody selling Beanie Babies, or whatever the case is. What if you told some stories and they go, oh, that's what I want to do, and he goes, I don't want to. That seems like work. I thought, well, yeah, it's work, but now you're suffering, man. You're twisting. And he's like, I'm not interested in that. Okay, and so they never did find anybody, and they ended up merging with he instead ended up merging with another company who has more things figured out, is more willing to do
Hmm.
things, and including HR related stuff. Uh, and I thought, okay, well, and so now we get the same. So when it was interesting because that was the beginning of the end of working with him,
Hmm.
because I thought, okay, this is how resourceful you are
Right.
not.
Right.
When you're looking at our stuff too, is this is this all you just look at the basics? You're not. And I thought, that's probably true. And so we started looking for somebody a little. You don't have to be clever, but like you got a little more engaging, and because they weren't, and then they started making mistakes, and that was, and part of the reason they made mistakes is because they joined this with this bigger firm, and now they've kept people who don't care,
Hmm.
paying attention to, or half paying attention to our stuff, which just cost us a bit of money recently.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
that we didn't, it wasn't filed right. Now, I don't know. Yeah, and went back, oh, yeah, 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 pointed the finger at, oh, it's so and so's fault. Well, I don't care. But I thought back to this conversation about providing something just a little more interesting for the world to see. I would imagine clients too. Imagine being, we're client, all of us look for accounting firms. Wouldn't
Right.
it be cool to be able to go to their site and go, oh man, they've got stories, all kinds of stories. Here's what we did for this company. Here's the situation. Here's the problem that they were having, or the concern or question. And here's what we found when everybody else didn't. So that's one of the things that we want to provide here. I mean, quite frankly, it's not only to give a different view, different vantage point to how we see things and how we put things together and create and build in a little different way than most everybody else, but it's also it's informational, it's entertaining, and it's also very functional for us to attract people who love what we're talking about, and and for us to find the right people who love what we're talking about, and then have the right skill. Right? It's not just that they might enjoy
Right.
working with us, but it's the right people who love working with us. So I think I, I think it's something that more companies should do. So the topic here is what do you choose for a career? Well, you know, you, our youngest son is 25, and he talks about his friends like, they're 25 years old and already it's like, ah, God, I hate my job. I've got to go to work tomorrow. And I think by providing what we provide, people can make better choices whether if they want to come and work with us and how interesting it might be, uh, as opposed to going to work for some company that you had no idea about, but they looked good, they sounded good in their marketing. Uh, it's interesting to see kids so young already kind
Hmm.
of checked out, can't wait to die or retire. You know, uh,
Long way
I
to go
think
at
more,
that age, though.
no, yeah, there's
So,
the long way to go, a long way
hmm
to go, and they're already checked out. It sounded good. The job description, we don't have cool job descriptions here. Maybe we need better ones, but you can go to the company that looks like the leaders of the industry and have cool job titles and then hate every minute of it,
hmm
and
hmm
or you can find companies, you can find out a little bit more about a company before you go with them, and I hope that by saying that more people do it, and and more companies see this, right? If you want to get if you want to get the best people, then I think you have to provide the not it's like you need to provide the best fit for
right.
them, right? And that's one of the reasons we do this, is to demonstrate who we are and what we do and how we do it and how we look at it. And if you like that, then you're probably going to love it here. If you don't, then that's fine. It's good to know that you're not a good fit, and for us to know that you're not also. So, and we use this too, like, oh, did you see our YouTube channel?
hmm
And if they say no, you go, why don't you take a look at it? And then if you like it, if you love it, why don't you get back to me, or us,
hmm
and let's go from there. And if they never do, that's fine, because you want people who are interested in what it is you do, right? And interested enough to, because when they're on your team, you want them engaged and being clever and creative and helping you build the thing you want to build, and they're going to get a lot of satisfaction out of it too.
hmm
But if they don't even take the initiative to poke around and look at you and understand who you are and why they would want to go to work with you, then they're probably not the right, they're not the right ones, and we don't have to waste our time or theirs. They can go over to big bank on the corner, with no personality, and
Right.
you know that fit right in.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of years since I've quote unquote looked for a job, but I think from that perspective, from the other perspective of being a potential employee or partner, or whatever you're looking to do, your career wise, having the opportunity to like see the people you're working with in action prior to getting there, that answers a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Because how many times have you interviewed someone? Like I remember interviewing. I mean, we've done it all, right? And I
yeah,
remember interviewing people and going, "Man, this is the perfect fit. They
yeah,
sound great. They're going to be awesome. They got the right personality." And what we do at the corporate level is a lot of what we do here is on the phone. So you
yeah,
gotta. There's a certain way to sell on the phone, and man, they check all the boxes. First day they get on the phone, they act like they've never been on the phone before,
yeah,
and it's almost like they change their personality, and it's like, hey, I've even said, I'm like, hey, what happened to that guy that I interviewed a couple weeks ago? I said, if you bring that guy back or that woman or whatever, you bring that person back, you're gonna rock it. But if you keep, it's like they almost like put on a different hat when they get into. I mean, what you
yeah,
see here is what you get. Like if you were to call either one of us today and out of the blue and get us on the phone, we'd be the exact same on the phone with you, or if I met you in person, as we are here. I mean, there is no. It's like, look, we'd rather lay it out and go, this is what it is, and if this
yeah.
fits you, you're gonna fit in great here.